Hello, travelers. I am coming to you with the election reading follow-ups. I literally just walked in the house from seeing my acupuncturist, and when I walked in on the TV, they've just called the presidential race for Joe Biden. So he will be our 46th president of the United States. Interestingly, before I left, which was about I'm gonna say 9:50 a.m. this morning Central Standard Time, a story came across that 45 had absconded the White House and went down to Mar-a-Lago to go play golf. Well, he will not be returning back to the White House. Sorry, it's not funny. I hope he packed a bigger bag. Anyway, um, so I'm coming to you to do some follow up on the previous readings that I've done. And then this morning, my friend Jessica Adams sent out a tweet that was most interesting. Um, Let me read it to you. That Jessica, I tell you what, the post the news, it was a article from the Sun News, which is a newspaper I think in England, which says Vladimir Putin to resign as he allegedly has Parkinson's disease. Now, 2020 is doing the most, y'all. It is doing the most. Because if you remember, one of the readings which I conducted was, will the president leave the United States like he said if he was to lose the election? And the answer was that yes, he would be. And I said that he would more than likely go to Russia. Well, that may not work out for the president, because if you remember, it ended with that, what was it? That It ended with the Sun card, I believe. And that card, I was talking about the imagery of how the ground looked so barren. It did not look as though wherever the president would be going to would be a fruitful place for him, given his personality skill set. So the only other place, if he can't get to Russia before Vladimir leaves, okay, if he leaves, then I suspect he may try to go to Israel. Um, because Bibi Netanyahu, two peas in a pod, and just looking at the actual landscape of Israel, it's not a very green and verdant place, which were the exact words that I used. Also, I wanted to follow up with the reading that I did on I think it was October 29th, and the question was asking what was the energy surrounding the vote counting process. As I said to you previously, that I did not see any violence, in the streets, people protesting, but what I did see was people showing up at the counting places to try to intimidate or stop the process. So that came true. The other thing that I wanted to speak to you about was the reading that I did on the 27th of October. And that question was, what role would the SCOTUS play in the election, if any? And I said to you, it ended with I think it was it the Eight of Wands or the Eight of Moons? Let me check the the meaning of the card, and I can tell you. It wasn't the Eight of Moons, so it may have been the Eight of Suns. Um, because somebody asked me, did I think the let me find the quatrain, if I can. Let me see. That's not it either. Uh, Hold on. Let me find the cards. I don't see the Nine of Stars, I believe it was. From the herd, 9 will be set aside, denied judgment and counsel. That's my mom calling about the election. Hold on one second, y'all. Oh, I missed it. Okay, good. Um, and so I think I want to say Sarient. I don't know. Oh dear God. Hold on. Yes, I know. Let me call you back. I'm in the middle of a reading. Bye. Okay, I went through the whole reading and it wasn't even recording. So where I stopped, 2020, where I stopped was to say that Sarient had contacted me and said, did I think that was the Supreme Court? And my answer was no, because of that last, and I got to go through this all over again. Trust me, y'all, it's crazy. Because of that last card, and I think it was the Nine of Stars, I believe it was. And it said that, let me make sure. From the human herd, 9 will be set aside. So the last line of that, deny judgment and counsel. And I said, no, because the Supreme Court, they don't get judged and they don't need counsel. That's what they do. That it would be the senators. And her question was, and I said, that the Senate's going to take 9 seats. And I was half right and half wrong. I'm going to admit that. And the reason why I'm saying that is because when I said the Senate, I actually meant the Senate. Okay? Remember, there's 2 branches to that, to the Congress. There's the Senate House, and there's a House of Republicans. But the Democrats took 8 seats in the House. Okay? And they picked up 2 seats, so to speak, in the Senate. Now, why I say so to speak is because Doug Jones of Alabama lost his seat, okay? But that was offset by John Hickenlooper picking up Cory Gardner's seat. Why? Because Cory Gardner didn't have no defense, okay? He didn't get no counsel because they took the money away from him. They pulled all the GOP pulled all the money out of him to support his race. He didn't have no counsel and he had no defense. So Hickenlooper picked up that seat, and that offset the one that Doug Jones lost in Alabama. But then in Michigan, Senator Peters, I think he's a senator, picked up his seat. So that's 2 seats. So it's 8 seats in the House of Representatives and 2 seats in the Senate. That's 10 seats. And what I think is that they're going to pick up 2 more seats because there will be a runoff in Georgia, December 5th. Purdue, the Republican, versus Ossoff, the Democrat, and Reverend Raphael Warnock, the Democrat, versus Kelly Loeffler, the Republican. So they could end up picking up 2 extra seats. Now, I don't want anybody who's watching this, who's a staunch Trump supporter, to think that I don't like Republicans or I really hate the president because, oh wait, the ex-president. Wait a minute. It's not about that. The reason why it's so important for the Dems to take control of the Senate, to actually get those 2 extra seats, is because it's going to be very difficult for Joe Biden to initiate his mandate if Mitch McConnell is still the head of the Senate, the Speaker of the House. I mean, the Speaker of the Senate, the leader of the Senate, okay? And if that's the case, if they don't win those extra 2 seats, it's going to be like the past 20 years that they've been doing nothing. And it goes back to what I said. So anybody who's within the sound of my voice, who's a staunch Republican and a great supporter of 45, this is not about blue versus red or left versus right. This is about the idea that things need to be done in order to get us moving back again as a society. And it will not be done if the president does not, number 46, does not have the backing of his own party. It's going to be like the 8 years Obama spent trying to get things done, okay? And they refused to work with him. So I don't give a shit, excuse my language, If you don't like what I'm saying, I don't care if you are a staunch Republican. I don't care if you do like 45 and you're a supreme follower and a believer of him. Tell me that you can't use another coronavirus relief payment. Tell me that you can't wait to get back to work or to be able to at least go back to the way life halfway used to be. That you can't find that you're not ready for a little bit more stability in your life. And so that's why taking the Senate, the control of the Senate, is going to at least provide us that. We know that we're going to get an opportunity, some of us who may need that extra money because we got bills to pay, our mortgages due, our car bills need to be paid, we need to feed our kids. Tell me you can't use that money. And it's been apparent that the Republicans weren't going to do that because they were more focused on putting people on the bench. And while that may be important, that don't solve my damn problems, and I know it don't solve yours. Okay? So that's why it's very important. So that was the prediction that I made. So I'm going to say I was half right and half wrong because I really was looking at the Senate itself. But you got to look at the Senate as the whole, the Congress as the whole. So yes, they got their 9 seats plus 1. Okay? The other thing that I mentioned was that one of the questions that I did was that 45 would be leaving the country. Remember, because he said, if I lose, I'm leaving the country. And I said, yes, he was going to be leaving the country probably in March of next year. But there's a wrinkle that has just popped up. Jessica Adams, God bless her, put out a tweet this morning from the newspaper The Sun in England, which says, Vladimir Putin to resign as he allegedly has Parkinson's disease. Well. It says he's set to resign early next year due to health fears. And the plot thickens. Because I said, when I was looking at if the president was going to leave, that he would probably go to Russia. But that card ended with the sun. And remember I said that it had that weird lion lying, underneath the sun. And I kept going, but it's something else about that because the surroundings in which the lion was lying in was so barren and devoid of any kind of life. It wasn't green and it wasn't verdant, and it wasn't going to be green and verdant for him wherever it was that he went, particularly for his personality skill set. So that means that if he planned to go to Russia, he's either going to have to do that crap in a hurry or that avenue's been cut off for him, if this is true about Putin. The only other place that I see that would match that landscape would be Israel. He and Bibi Netanyahu are buddies, and he's been doing all the most for Israel over there. But that kind of matches the landscape. So again, that's now kind of up in the air. And the reason why I say Putin resigning may cut off that the next person who comes into play may not want him there. Now, not only is the possibility of Putin resigning may cut off his avenue, but what does that mean for America, if anything at all? We now have a new president in the White House who will not be standing for any election foolishness over there in Russia. He's going to be standing on the side of democracy. Putin has been there for a long time. He's changed the rules. He's taken over all of the power there. I mean, he kind of like put himself in for life. But guess what? Life had other plans for him. And I think it's quite ironic that Parkinson's, if this is true, is what's going to take him down. Because he's known as a strong man. Y'all know he loved to ride around on horses with no shirt on and wrestle bears in the Russian woods and wrestle alligators, and he's always half naked when he does it. Well, now that's a different ball game. So I think that's really ironic that Parkinson is what is going to take him down. But that's going to leave a power vacuum. So that means that there's going to have to be an election in Russia now. And so we will see this struggle for power. Will the people rise up to say, you know what, that's enough of that crap. We want a democracy. The history of Russia is rife with poverty and wars and power struggles. Y'all know people love to fall out of windows over there and drink polonium tea and take vacations to prisons and never come back. You know, you know what I mean? So this is going to be very, very interesting. And though it may not have necessarily a direct effect on America, due to the geopolitical uh, connections that America has with Russia and has always had with that, by them being our greatest enemy and our greatest foe, this is going to change the power dynamic. Okay? And so I think it will be some kind of change for us here in America, but it is definitely going to be a huge change for the country of Russia, for the people of Russia, and all of those little satellite companies that came out of Russia when it broke up with Mikhail Gorbachev, but also those ones that are still trying to cling on to the coat strings, the coattails of the power that Russia wields. So remember the guy from Ukraine? Well, remember Russia took the Crimea. Okay, then you've got, I just saw a story the other day. Belarus has been in arms for the past 3 months. The guy is trying to style himself after Putin and has close ties to Putin. And there was a story that came out a couple of days ago that caught my eye. I don't know if it came from the Post. I think it did, or the Times. Let me see here if I can find it. But it just kind of struck me, and I went, "Wow, that's kind of weird." I can't seem to find they don't have a notification thing that they sent of some guy in some country who resigned to go face war crimes at The Hague. Not only did he resign, but his vice president resigned. Who does that? Say, okay, well, I'm just going to quit and go over here and face these charges. Who does that? They only do it if they think they're going to get away with it. And I think that goes back to Serbia and Croatia, okay? The war crimes there. So if this story is true about Putin, there's a lot in the air. There's a lot of changes coming. And it could be that Joe Biden winning the presidency, becoming the 46th president of the United States, means that maybe it won't be so much craziness and foolishness. I don't know. I do remember that I pulled a card that talked about the alliance between America and Russia in the 23rd century. And remember, I said in that reading, I'm not exactly sure how far this is out, but we are moving into a new era. We are leaving the epoch of Pisces and moving into the epoch of Aquarius. This is the dawning of the age of Aquarius, the sign of brotherhood and sisterhood. As I go, as you go, there go I. Okay? And so I think in a roundabout, weird kind of reverse kind of a way, I think America's going to play a very, very important role if this is true, that Putin will be leaving and stepping down. We may have to go and provide that support for the people if they choose a democracy for themselves. And that's why I was harping to you guys about democracy. Okay, it's not a perfect system of government, but it's the best one because it gives everybody an opportunity to decide what's in their own best interest. And remember, I was all bent out of shape and telling you how I was in the military, and the role in the military, we've gone around the world since the 40s defending the rights of democracy for other people in other countries, but yet our own country is suppressing us and not giving us the opportunity to voice our opinions. Whether you are a Republican or a Democrat, you have the right to voice your opinion, right, wrong, or indifferent. And I think the thing that upset me the most with a lot of people who were staunch followers of 45 is that, they were like, well, you either believe like we believe, or, it's invalid, or there's something wrong with it, or you're a communist, or you're this. No, it's not that. Democracy says that you are free to think that, but it also says I'm free to say you can be wrong if you so choose to be, and to respect those differences, okay? and that you were really voting and speaking in against your own best interest. All right, because if you think that the dictatorial and authoritarianism tendencies of 45 would not come back to haunt you, ask all of those people who are still alive that fell in line with Hitler. What happened to them after they got tired of his behind and that foolishness that he did? What do you think is going on with those people who keep falling out of windows and drinking polonium tea and going on vacation and never going back in Russia? Okay? Do not think that if you have somebody in power who is a dictator or who has authoritarian tendencies, that they won't turn it on you, because they will, particularly if they feel threatened or they don't like what you're saying. So anyway, I did the entire reading and I pulled the cards, and none of that was recorded, but here's what I got. The Emperor was the overall energy. Then we had the Apprentice, or I want to say that's the Knight of Coins. The Astronomer, the Queen of Coins, and then the Completed World, which is another major arcana card. And I said that this goblet is open to accept anything, okay? But it speaks to the end of a cycle. So we're leaving the era of Pisces and we're going into the age of Aquarius. So let me read to you what these meanings are. I looked it all over with the, and a few things came out. The Emperor says, he will raise up the humble and harry the rebels. No one on earth shall be his equal. This has a prophetic reference to Abraham Lincoln, but also to Napoleon Bonaparte and French King Henry V. Do your homework and look up French King Henry V. Okay? And I'm thinking to myself that if this is true about Putin, what he's doing is he's telling people what he wants done if he can no longer make decisions for himself. He's laying down the law of what he wishes to see happen. He's passing along his wisdom. Okay? That's what this card said too. Because it says, where is it? It is I can't do my numbers. The Apprentice. He remains seated on the square stone. See him seated on his square throne of stone, facing south, set in the window. But I think the thing that stood out to me most is that it says, here, this page, it's a page, not the knight, I'm sorry, is tending the tree of wisdom and knowledge, copying what he's learned on a scroll that grows from its branches. So I think that this is telling us that something is already in the works over there. There are plans being made, but there's more information to come. The reason why I say that is at first I thought that this right here was a continuation of the scroll flapping around, but that's a quill. And remember, I kept saying to you when the Three of Moons kept coming out, that whatever this thing was, it's written in the stars, that something's being written and that will be more information to come. There it is, the quill. Putting pen to paper. There's more news to come. Now, the interesting thing I thought about the Astronomer card was this, because the quatrain is very strange. Put in chains at the ends of a harsh cable in the year when Mars, Venus, and the sun appear in the summer. Well, in one way, we can kind of say that Kamala Harris was a woman in chains. Not that she was a slave, but simply that women all over the world have basically been chained in a social way. Women aren't allowed to, if you speak your mind, you're a bitch. If you show emotion, you're hysterical. You know, we haven't been allowed to take our seat at the table as well in the powers, in the corridors of power. Okay, so we can say that might be about Kamala Harris and the future role that she may play. And there's something I'm going to throw out here that I've been telling Jessica Adams behind the scenes. I have been seeing death around Joe Biden. and I'm not exactly sure that he is going to make it through the first year of his presidency, which would put Kamala Harris in a very, very uniquely historical position. A descendant of slaves, a black and woman, becoming the first president of the United States. She's already made history as becoming the first of those things, vice president. But in this case, she will become the president of the United States. You heard that here first. I, people ask me, I mediumship, yes, like the Sixth Sense. I don't see dead people, but dead people come and talk to me, and I'm able to somehow or another see when death approaches. I've always been able to do it since I was a kid, and I see death standing very, very near Joe Biden. So I'm just throwing that out there. But as this relates to Russia, I'm not exactly sure if this is telling me that one of Vladimir Putin's staunch female enemies will be stepping into power in Russia if this thing is true. The completed world. Now, didn't I say that because I looked at this card, and the thing that stood out to me was Capricorn on the 5th house in this card. It shows up here as well. And I looked at my thing, and Capricorn is now in the 6th house. Pluto is there, but he's retrograde, so he's going to be moving back into the 5th house, I think. I went and looked at March, because it said that he will be leaving in early next year. And I went back and I looked. The completed world says, when the sun reaches its zenith, then will my deep prophecies be accomplished. The prophetic reference is to the prophet's work is done, or the end of time. I don't take that as being the end of time, like the end of days. I take that to mean it is the end of the time of Pisces and moving into the time of Aquarius. And that if this is a reference to Nostradamus himself, he only saw into or as far as the age of Pisces. Okay? That there's going to be something completely and totally new for the age of Aquarius, but he didn't look that far. If that is what the meaning is, I don't think that he is through speaking at the end of the age of Pisces. I think he has a lot more to say even moving forward. So I will continue to use these cards as we move along. But I don't know, as I'm saying, that this information about Putin is true. If he's making plans, that's what these things are referring to. He's like, look, if I get too old, too feeble, can't do whatever, this is what I want to happen. Here's what he's designating, those people he wants to step into power. But I don't think the people of Russia are going to just allow that to happen. And so in a roundabout way, it is going to have an effect on America, because we're going to have to, I don't want to say intervene, to support the democratic process that I see coming down the pike for the country of Russia, and what that means for all of those countries that have been dealing with Russian incursions. We're looking at Syria, we're looking at the Ukraine, we're looking at Belarus, we're looking at Croatia and Serbia. We're looking at all of those little countries that still have these ties to Russia, be they good or be they bad. And so I think this is going to be a game changer in terms of the politics moving forward. And I honestly feel that this is the reason that Joe Biden won the presidency. He tried twice and failed. And not only did he win it this third time, but he got more votes in the history of the country going all the way back to George Washington. Okay, he got more votes than President Obama. And that was the most people who had cast votes in the history of the country then. But he has come along now, and I'm not saying that he's the savior. I'm not saying he's the one who's going to be able to fix everything that ails the country. But I think there's a reason for him coming in so late in life and winning the presidency. It's bigger than just him, and it's bigger than just what the country has gone through. Okay? It's bigger than that. And that's just the sense that I have. And so I also want to say to you guys that I was very, very reticent to make my predictions. I like to sometimes keep things to myself. But Jessica Adams said to me, you have a duty to warn. And she's right, I do. And so I want you guys to know, it takes a lot to make predictions. It takes a lot of overcoming fear. The fear of being incorrect, the fear of being wrong, the fear of getting it wrong, the fear of giving wrong information. And so I really rely on the astrology, the cards, and my guides. And a lot of times you guys will ask me questions and I'll be like, I don't know, I don't remember. And what happens when I do these readings is I go into a trance state. I'm someplace else. And I don't always remember what comes out of my mouth and what I say and the messages that come across. So it's always helpful when you guys can come back and say, hey, remember when you said X, Y, and Z, And I will be the first to say this is not an exact science, and you guys know that. And I think there would be a lot of hubris, and if I were to come out and say, I'm 100% accurate. No, it's 50-50. But my guides, I have to trust what they've never been wrong. It may not have happened when I said it was going to happen. And that reminds me, the thing about March, where the sun and Mercury and Venus will be in the summer, that's in May of 2021. I don't know what that means, but I had to bring that to you, okay, because I looked it up. Something to do with Putin and leaving and what's coming forward. So I think May, the summer, is going to be pivotal for what happens over there in Russia and how that's going to go. And it could be really ugly, you guys. I don't know. And so I'm going to check back on that as we progress. But I wanted to thank you guys so much for giving me the space and the platform to bring you the work that I do, that you guys listen, that you guys, particularly that you listen with an open mind. That's really important for me, because I don't want ever to sway or try to sway somebody one way or the other. I just want to bring you as much information as I can so that you can decide for yourself what is true and what is not true, okay? Any of you Trump supporters out there, y'all are always welcome to come and see my channel. This is what has happened, and the rancor and the divisiveness and the racism and the hate and the just plain damn foolishness. We can not sweep it under the rug. We can't act like it didn't happen, but we also shouldn't hold that against each other either, okay? And so you're welcome to my channel anytime. And so, but your boy had to leave the White House. Last thing I'm going to say, I found it to be most telling that he decided that he was just going to leave the White House and go down to Mar-a-Lago and play golf. He was not going to concede. And I want you to know that that was his concession. I told my mom, there's a line from the movie Hush, Hush, Sweet Charlotte. Betty Davis, Olivia de Havilland, my favorite actress, and my homeboy Joseph Cotton from down in Mississippi. And Joseph Cotton and Olivia de Havilland are trying to run Betty Davis crazy in the movie. Betty Davis plays Charlotte, and they're trying to get the house out from under her so that they can sell it and get all of the money. And so Joseph Cotton goes, now Charlotte, you just gonna have to leave this house. There's nothing that can be done about it. So I called my mom the other day, and when I picked up the phone, that's the line I told her, and we fell out. I kept telling you guys he was going to be leaving the people's house. And him going down to Mar-a-Lago to play golf was him vacating the people's house. So pat yourself on the back, America. Through all sorts of obstacles, you have reclaimed our democracy. Okay? Be proud of that. All right? Pat yourself on the back because this was a battle. You guys stay safe, social distance, okay? Put your mask on. All you people out there that been hollering, open up the country, you are speaking against your own best interest. Ain't nothing gonna happen until we get control of this coronavirus. And I don't care if you don't think it's real. Okay? Just because you don't think it's not real, don't make it so. Okay? Just because you don't think it's real, don't mean it's so. All right? And until we can all determine under the sign of Aquarius that, I care about you enough to social distance and put a mask on so that you don't get sick and your family members don't get sick and your loved ones don't get sick. Okay? Just because you don't want to do that, that's not right. It's just not right. And I'm hoping that you guys, because you are putting yourself at greatest risk, not just other people. Think of yourself. Okay? So that's what I have to say. I hope y'all come back into the fold with the rest of us people who just living here on planet Earth, and y'all come back from Earth too. And so I want y'all, you can hate me for saying it. I still love you. It doesn't matter. It's tough love. And so I will speak to you soon. I will see you after my surgery on the 11th. And so until next time, take care and namaste.